Now listen, this is for the boys mainly at the A-team reserve, but for you guys as well. It is well known in the Melbourne media world that there's been a long-running ego-off happening to assume the title of which I think is the low-ranking title, of the number one journo in town. I think you know where I'm going, Damo.
Oh, hello.
All sorts of smelly behaviour has been going on between these two guys. That's you, Damo, and this other person. And you're even born in the same building, I believe. But even though the platform of which you are trying to get on top of and be the number one of has diminished because of social media, your behaviour still continues. You refuse to acknowledge each other when you see each other. You refuse to talk about each other. You refuse to shake hands. You refuse to all sorts of things.
What are you saying?
You actually hate each other. Now, on a podcast the other day, I heard... I'm about to play it to you.
Right.
Hutchie, I think it's called The Sounding Board. Are you on that?
Yep. I'm on that. Very
on
high
that.
rating podcast BT, yeah.
And Damo, he aspires to being the number one man in town.
Yes.
And this other guy happened to appear on the same show, and he also aspires to be the number one in town. No one really cares, but they're fighting over the number one thing to try and
We're actually not.
be number
Yes.
We
one.
do very different things.
So on the podcast the other day, there was finally a dummy spit because the other potential number one man, Mark Robinson, had this to say. Have a listen.
Last question on all that. I also heard Robbo mention that his story on Kane Cornes and Kate Jezelenko wouldn't be run because it was only further building Kane Cornes. In fact, here's what he had to say.
Kane's a pretty outspoken media commentator, and he says something quite challenging or disruptive or, critical most days.
So I found that fascinating.
Hutchie, what are you doing? Why are you playing that voice on this show?
It was a way into a discussion and argument on this exact topic. So that was on the You Can't Be Serious podcast, Sam's podcast.
We've never done this. I might edit that out after this. I don't want that voice on this show.
Damo.
I choose not to listen to what he says, Hutchie, and particularly it's valid when you hear rubbish like that. Kane Cornes has genuine cut-through, something that he clearly is jealous of.
Damo, let's not get personal.
Yeah, personal.
Is that a dummy spit by Damo?
That's unlike you, Damo, because you're very measured.
It's a bit of theatre, Bill, on a podcast.
What? You're actually a bit of humour and a bit of theatre.
I don't think it was theatre.
I know.
Told
It's a dummy spit, Damo, and very
What
unlike.
were you told, BT?
So what is it, the status between you and Robbo?
Bill,
why are you both?
I don't want to talk about him.
Why are you both? Can't you both be number one? Why is it that you both only one can get
we just
there?
don't like each other, BT.
Why can't you both stand up there?
Unlike a lot of relationships in footy, it's probably more genuine than most because we're open about it.
What has he done to you?
I tell you
We
what
just don't
happened.
like each other.
What has he done to you?
I heard him say, Damo,
He's never written an article about you or
that you
done
didn't
anything?
get the number one job at the Herald Sun.
Yeah, that's now
This
we're
is to
talking.
the heart.
Yeah.
Now,
Ooh.
Damo, I just said all.
I left the Herald Sun 2 years before.
I'll ask you a
Mike Sheehan
question.
gave it up.
I'll ask you a question. You
Ouch.
say yay or no, okay?
Ouch.
Yeah.
You didn't get the number one job at the Herald Sun.
Because I chose to
No,
leave the building.
wait, Rick Darling.
Ouch.
Rick Darling.
You didn't get the job, so you cracked the shits and you left. And then Robbo got it.
Yeah,
Do you want the timeline, Bill? I left 2 years before Mike Sheehan finished.
No, but you were heading there, and
No, I never
Why is
wanted
it you had
You
such a great
anointed-
relationship with Mike Sheehan,
yeah,
but then not with Robbo?
like they're both the same job.
Yeah.
I mean, why couldn't you both get on?
You don't like everyone you come across.
What was that line you said a couple of years ago? Can you repeat
No.
that?
We don't need to go there. I don't think people even care for what Mark Robinson and I think of each other. So I don't know why we're
But
talking.
players,
Well, I think
that's true. Players don't get on. When you
At least we're open about it, Duck. A lot of people in this room even have relationships with people that they're very different to the way they play them out
Did
publicly.
you get on with at North?
What? No, I got along with
Did you
everyone.
dislike any players?
Who didn't you get on with?
I got along
Is there
with
one
everyone.
person in your career from any walk of life
Yeah.
that you didn't get on with that
But
you're prepared to say?
I've had my battles with people in the media
Who?
for obvious reasons.
Who was the one that you really
Well, I've had heaps
Damo
of battles. You know what I've learnt over
at the level
time
that Damo and Robbo are?
you just you know what? Just be nice.
Yeah,
Just be polite.
Yeah.
Just don't hold grudges.
See, I adopted that.
if I was to hold a grudge, BT, I wouldn't talk to anyone.
They used to write bad stuff on me, and I thought, no, I'll just go along with it.
What
and
did
I'll
they
just-
write about you?
Eventually, they'll write something nice.
And you know what?
What did they write about you,
just
Brian?
that I couldn't play and all that sort of thing. But that's okay.
You just wrote a whole book about giving up the whole team in a premiership winning season, BT.
Sold well.
Anyway,
Anyway,
the bit I liked most in that exchange was you talking about the sounding board.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Purple, you're talking about it being a high rating podcast.
High ranking.
got some numbers.
I think
Making sure of that, or
BT, I will say,
is there a way of that being pretty much guaranteed?
when people are really
Genuine
critical,
numbers, Jim.
when people are scathing and
Genuine.
really critical of other people, it says more about them than it does.
Oh.
Oh, listen to
Comments they
Duck.
make.
The world
Oh,
according to Duck, who's blown up more relationships
You'll
and
grab blokes
more
by the throat.
issues and football clubs than anyone.
This anger that you're giving to me now.
Where's it come from, Damo?
That story at the Herald Sun when they had 36 pots on the front page. Who wrote that? Duck?
Well, that's more about them.
It's 43
than it is
pots,
me.
wouldn't it?
43 pots. Who wrote that?
That's
Duck?
more about them
That was the
than
best.
me.
More about it.
That
They
front page.
They wanted to sell some.
Ducks stepped into a landmine area.
They wanted to sell some papers, so it's about them.
Pot.
So, and when you attack me in that manner,
Ooh.
aggressive manner,
Why?
Are you doing
that is,
Buddhism?
that is more about you.
Listen to you, Duck.
What's wrong with you?
Duck's gone all kumbaya.
Oh, my.
Get him out of isolation.
Get him.
He's turned into something completely.
What's happened to him?
We need our man back.